Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela and this is my Precious Yarnery. So today we're going to do a tutorial on this sweater, and this is with the Elizabeth stitch or the mini bean. So I did it in this yarn and I can't tell you how I did it. I just want to show you the yarn and what it looks like in two different yarns. I can't give you how many stitches I used or anything. This is a 4-weight, this is a light 3-weight. This cardigan was made out of puzzle cotton from Premier. I used almost three rolls of it. I guess it's rolls. They're like donuts, but not, I guess. And it's a 4-weight yarn. And I used a 6.5 hook on that. That's all I can tell you for that. I don't remember anything else I did it. I didn't do a tutorial on this. I didn't think anybody would want one. This one, I used the loops and threads, Ombre Hue yarn, and this colorway, oh, let me tell you this colorway. This colorway is taffy. Now this is, they say it's hand wash. I'm really sorry, she's in a mood. Hand wash, lay flat to dry, because of the cotton. Yeah, well, I don't. I wash it. And I mean, it just pills but a bit and then not too bad. But that's up to you. If you want to hand wash, you hand wash. I'm lazy. This one is a light 3-weight, and this colorway is called, now they change it all the time. Now this is 75% polyester, 25% acrylic. This is hand wash too. Dry flat, lay flat to dry. And this is a new yarn, a newer yarn for Michaels. I'm just looking for the name. I know they've changed it and you guys are probably yelling at me. This is where this is where they keep it. But it is what it is. I still can't see it. They should put it somewhere in bold letters. I'm just saying. Anyways, I'll look for it in a minute. I use 2 plus this skeins to do this, and this is about a large. This will be perfect over one of my summer dresses, or a large, extra large. It's baggy, but it's not. It's not too baggy. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoyed working with this yarn. That's all I used, and I couldn't believe it. But you got over 224 yards in this. I don't know what her problem is. I'm just trying to look for the name for it. 1 sec. Okay, I found it. It's Emerald Spirit White. Now, I started out with a 4.5 hook for it. I thought it was too small. They say to use a 4. Now for a cardigan, I thought, oh, that's not, I want it bigger. So I went to a 5 hook. So as you will see in the tutorial, I started with a 4.5 and then realized it wasn't, and I already filmed that bit, so I just ripped it out and did more. In the description box, I will try and put how many rows I did of what, how many rows I did with the between the back collar here. I will put all that in there. And so you can just go back there and see how many I did for this size. Remember, everybody's different, and you make it to you. You don't have to make the sleeves this short. You can go longer. I made them, both of them are, this one's longer, but pretty much this one's a 3/4 inch. So it goes about to here. That one goes about to there. Beautiful sweater. Absolutely love it. So I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. And so what you're going to need is you're going to need your yarn, you're going to need scissors, you're going to need a tapestry needle, measuring tape, and stitch markers, and then and a hook. And you're off to the races. Okay guys, have a good day. Bye. Okay, so to do the measurement for how long you want your cardigan to be on you or whoever you're making it for, it's custom. So that's how I do all my wearables. So basically, 2 ways. I have 161 chains here. The chain count for this cardigan will be 2 plus 1, so an odd number. So you put it in half, put it on the top of it, at your top of your shoulder, and then that's how long it'll be. Now, remember, sometimes you'll want to put a trim on it. I'm not putting a trim on the bottom of trim, so that's how long this cardigan will be. Unless you want to do a trim, I will show you how to do a trim on the bottom of this. Yeah. Okay, so the width. So you hold it there, and you want it to go however wide you want it to be on your biggest part of the body, to the side here, the middle of your side. So that's where you'll be sewing it, like, because it'll be like that, right? So there's the back, and then you got to make it as wide as there, and then that's when I'll show you how to do something different. And then make sure when you measure your arms, I always do, these ones will be a little bigger because I'm only making a 3/4 length one sleeve. There'll be no trim on it. It's beautiful. So there'll be no trim on this. So usually I do a 6.5 inches, and I'll show you how I measure all that and everything. But this one will probably be 6.5. Yeah, because then it'll be long here. So don't worry about that. We'll take care of that when we get there. Okay, guys, so remember, as long and then as wide so you can, and we're still putting a collar on it. Okay, guys, see you later. Okay, I already have my chain done. I have 161 chains. So you need a chain 2 plus 1. So what you do is you do 2, 2, 2 until you get as the length you want your cardigan, and then you add 1 at the end. So 2 plus 1. And I always work at the back of the loop. Now I've done on my shrug, I have done one of my shrugs, I have showed you how to do this stitch before. So I'm going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook, but I'm going to work in the back loop. So there's 1, 2, 3. You can work in the front. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. So you insert your hook, pull through a loop, 2 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn, put through the same chain, pull through another loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, and you wrap your yarn and pull through all 4 of those loops. Then you chain 1. Never forget the chain 1. That's part of your stitch. Skip 1, insert your hook, wrap your yarn, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn, insert into the same stitch, pull through your yarn. You have 4 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn, pull through all 4, chain 1. I'm sorry if you hear Chief in the background. He wants to play with the kittens, and the kittens are saying no. So let's do that again. You skip 1, insert your hook, wrap your yarn, pull through, wrap your yarn, insert your hook again in the same stitch, pull through 4 loops. Now wrap your yarn. Now the easiest way to pull this through, if you go like, let's get focused here. If you pull through all these, it's not going to work. You have to kind of turn your hook. I'll show you again. Let's pull up, see if that helps. Okay. So, skip 1, insert your hook, wrap your yarn, pull through 2 loops, wrap your yarn, insert your hook in the same loop, pull through. You got 4 loops on your hook. Wrap your yarn, turn your hook so it faces you, and pull through. And then chain 1. Let's do it one more time and then I'll meet you at the end. Skip 1, insert your hook in your chain, pull through, wrap your yarn, insert your hook, pull through, 4 hooks, wrap your yarn, turn your hook and pull through all 4, wrap your yarn, pull through. That's all you do. Just skip 1 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so at the end I have 2 stitches left. I go into my last stitch and do a mini bean stitch. This is either a mini bean or Elizabeth stitch. It's the same stitch. And I do my last one here. And then I don't forget to chain 1. But at the end you chain another one to turn, so that'll be your turning chain. You turn your work and you do another stitch, bean stitch, right in there. So then that's how you start your row every time. You end your row and start your row the same way. So you end your row with two chains instead of just 1, and then you turn and then you put another bean stitch right into the side of that stitch. Oops. And don't forget to chain 1. Okay, so you turn your, if this is easier, you turn and you see your V stitches. And you got 1, 2. You always skip that one and go into your second one. So you always skip 1. But if you hold your work, you can see where you go in. You always go into the side. So there's a hole right there that's always waiting for your hook to go in. So you'd be going into there, 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 and so on. And so you always just go right into that hole. And if you can't find it, you just pull your yarn work apart there, and you can see your holes. So you can just do your bean stitch right in there. And then you chain 1 and then go into the next one. Or you skip 1 and go into, but you go into your next hole. Oops. This yarn is so slippery. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. And it's the first time I'm working with it. There you go. And you do that and I'll meet you at the end again. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left. So I go in here and do my little bean stitch. And then my last stitch, you can see it. You skip this one. This is the one you go into, right in there. And then there's that little spot there, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. So you do your last bean stitch at the end. Chain 1 because that finishes it, because that's part of your stitch. And then you have to chain another one to turn your work. And then you carry on. This is what it looks like. It's so pretty. I love this stitch. Okay, so then you carry on, and you remember you go right into this stitch right there. And you do your little stitch, chain 1, go on your next space, and that's it. It's 1 row repeat now, and you just keep going until you get it as wide as you need it, and then I will return to show you how to do the collar. Okay guys, I have it folded in half because I can't fit the whole thing on here. So I have almost half of the back completely done and 1 front panel. I did 33 rows to measure for where I want it to sit on me and so I can, this will rule, I will be sewing it later. So now I have to do the little bit of the neck. So how I get that number, so I started off with 161 chains. One of those chains is my turning chain. So I have 160 stitches. Half of 160 is 80. So from here to here is 80 stitches. So I'm only going to be working only on half of it right now. So I need to figure out to make sure that how I got here, which is the easiest way for me, and I hope you understand. You just have to do it half. So I have 160 chains, half of 160 is 80. Each one of these bumps are 2 stitches. So I only have to count the bumps, so half of 80 is 40. So I only need 40 of these bumps, and that's when I put my stitch marker in, so I know where to go exactly. So this will be, for the next few rows, this will be my last stitch. So I do my last bean stitch in there, chain 2 and turn and keep working just on the one side. Now how big do I want that? Because it'll be, for me, I have to work, I like about 3 inches for the back of my neck. So I have to do that. So it's approximately for mine is 13 more rows. I've already counted it and measured it out. I just measure the back of my neck, and approximately, it doesn't have to be exact, and how big that has to be. It could be smaller, it could be bigger. It depends on how you like the back of your neck, how much room you need for your collar. And after I get done those rows, I will be back. So yes, I hope that all made sense to you. So now I will be doing 13 rows. You do whatever you need to do to make how much you want for the back of your neck. Okay, I will be back. Okay, so I did 13 rows there, and I have I have one more stitch left to do. I have about 4 inches, which is fine. It'll be absolutely fine. So I'm going to do my last stitch, and then I have to, I'm not turning, but what I have to do is do my other panel. So I took away 80 stitches. So I have to do a chain of 80 plus 1. So I'll be doing 81 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll come back when I got my 80 chains done. 81 chain. Okay, so I have my 81 chain here. So I'm just gonna go right into the 3rd chain and do my stitches. Okay, skip one and carry on. So I do this again all the way to the end. Like I just keep going from here, and I go all the way to the end, and I do my 33. And now that all depends of how many chains you took off to do this, only half of your, so you can do the middle of the back, and that's where your neck will go. So whatever you did, that's what you got to put back on. And how many ever rows you got through here, that's how many rows you have left to do. So after I get done this, I will be back and I will show you how I sew it all together. So I just wanted to jump on here real quick and show you how I just go transition right from the chain right over. So as you can see, as I've said, I've always worked, I flip my chain over and work in the back loops. So if you do that, then when you turn it back around, If you do that, it goes like this. So that chain is twisted, but that's okay. Just that last stitch right there, it just seems twisted, but that's okay. So I'm just going to, maybe if I put it the right way, that's okay. If it's twisted, I am just going to skip that stitch and go right into that stitch. You won't be able to tell because there'll be, your collar will be around there. So you won't be able to tell. So I just go right into my next stitch. Maybe if I do the stitch properly. And I just keep going all the way down. And I do, like I said, I have to do 33 more rows. And then the body will be done. Okay, I'll be back when I'm done those rows. Okay guys, I just wanted to quickly show you how I sew my sides together. You can do it any way you want, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. Now this is the arm part here. I usually start right under the armpit. That's where your armpit will go. It hides a lot. So I just throw my needle in and 4 of those stitches, like 2 stitches, but 4 strands. And then I have about that much, and I usually just tie a knot there. Make sure, and I always have, when I do my ends, I make sure I have a lot of end, so it's easier for me to sew, because we all know how much I like to sew. Okay, so then I kind of go and hold my part like this, just so I can see it, and then I go in one loop into the next. Then I only get 2 loops at a time instead of the 4, and I kind of just go back and forth, being very careful to make sure my stitches are even, because to me it really makes a difference how you stitch this up, how it's going to look. And I do this, that's it. That's how I do it all the way down. So I went that way, now I come back this way. And that's all I do. All the way down. And then I'm going to just, let me show you I like the way my ends, the way I sew it, it looks good. So that's how it looks on, this is the wrong side. The right side, it's hard to see when I don't have a lot done. Hold on, I'll do a little bit more. Just going from one end to the next, one side from the next. This one. And then make sure there's not very much space in between each one, just so there's no big gaps. See how that looks? I like the way that looks. So if I turn it over, this is how the right side will look. You see that? I just think it looks better. And that's my opinion. You do it the way, you might know a better way to do it than me. I'm not the best sewer in the world, so. Okay guys, I'll see you when it's time to do the sleeves. Okay, so I'm going to start my sleeve. So I'm going to get my yarn, do a slip knot. And then I'm going to start on my sleeve. Now my sleeve is not inside out, it's the right side now. And I like to, this is where the seam is where I sewed it. You can see that. So this is where I sewed it. So I want to get into this one first and then come over here to this one, to that stitch, just so it kind of pulls it together. So I'm going to start with one of the standing stitch, with the standing stitch. So what you do, you have a slip knot. Now you can attach your yarn any way you want. So I just put my hook in, bring out the yarn. I got 2 loops, wrap my yarn, just like you were doing a regular Elizabeth stitch or bean stitch. Wrap yarn and pull through all those, and then your chain. And then I go right into this one and do another one. Now I do those all the way around the sleeve. Now make sure and try, well, count as many as you need to go around here. It's because you have to keep track, because you have to have the sleeves both the same. So if you're one off, it's no big deal. But you don't want to be 2 or 3 or even 4, like, no. Try to keep them the same. And just go into these, your little, you see you got all those little spaces? And just go into there and make your way all the way around. And just keep count as you go. And I'll meet you to join. Okay, so I made it all the way around. Another thing I'd like to do is put a stitch marker where my first one is, because I have to count these, how many rows I do. So that's what I do. You can if you want, just to help me keep track. Okay, so I'm going to join it. So this is your stitch. I'm going to join it in this top stitch right here. Just with the slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And now I'm going to go right into this space, right in there, right in here. So I just do another one of my stitches, and then I jump. I don't really jump, but I go right into there. And you see where you go next. Now it's just simple. Now I got 29 of my Elizabeth stitches all the way around. On my other arm, I've already did my other arm, I have 29. Now I'm going to do 18 rows, because it's going to be 3/4 length. Now you can make it as long as short as you want. It's up to you. It's your garment. And that's all you do for the sleeves. And then when you're done, attach it. When you got as many rows as you want, you just attach it here and cut your yarn and sew in your ends, and your arms are done. And I'll be back to show you how to do your trims. Okay, so I'm going to do, I wasn't going to, but I am now, because I think, so this is my seam. And I just think it needs to be cleaned up a bit. This is the inside of the seam, and that's the outside of the seam. And I think it just needs to be cleaned up at the edges. So I'm going to put 2 rows of the trim on here, and the trim is the same as the rest. It is the stitch we've been doing this whole time. So I'm going to do 2 rows of that. So I'm going to find the corner. I'm going to put it right there, and I'm just going to do the standing stitch. And then I'm going to just see, you have your stitches, but I think I'm just going to throw them right in the spaces here, and that, and make it as even as I can, but still look good. So I'm not going to go there, but I think see if I can go into there and do the standing stitch, or I start it with the standing stitch, and just go all the way across and do I'm just going to do 2 rows of it. And hopefully that will clean the edge up a bit, and then it'll be fine. Well, it will clean the edge up. And it will be good. So I'm just going to do this all the way across. And I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm about to do my last stitch on this one side. So there's my stitch done, and don't forget the extra stitch to turn. So I'm going to do one row. You can do as many as you want. I just think it cleans it up a little bit. See, it looks much better here where the trim is now. And it'll clean it up. One more row will be perfect for it. Now you can do as many rows as you want. And at the end of this row, I'm just going to cut my yarn and show you how I do around the collar. And I will be back. Okay, I got the bottom trim done. I think it looks much better. Now I'm going to hook my yarn to the corner so I can do around the collar. We're going to do a standing stitch again. Just get it in where closest to the corner where you, because down here for the first couple rows you've just got to, you gotta guess. Okay, so we'll just throw it in here. Okay, so there's the first one. Then we'll go into here. And then you can start to see where you need to put your stitches. So in here, oops. So in here, all the way up. And you just keep doing the same stitch. All the way up. And I will meet you at the top right by your neckline so I can show you what I do there. Okay, so around the collar, you see it's a little, it's not quite, you got to go around, so your stitches are a little uneven. So I just pretty much guess. So I go in there and then I go in there. Just make it as even as possible all the way around. And then when you get to the other side, it'll be, when you get over here, it's back to the, where you know where to put them in. And then this is, when you do your other rows for this, it'll be just fine. So I just keep, now remember, this is the back of your neck, so it won't show as much. So if you even make a little boo-boo, it's fine. We're just winging it around here. We just do what we can with what we got. And just keep going all the way. And that's it. You do what you can. It'll look great when it's done. No worries. So that's what you do, and you can put it, so you go all the way to the end of this, of the other side, and then you turn, you do your 2 stitches at the, like the 2 chains, one for your stitch and then one for a turning chain, and you turn it and you go around the other side. You can go around, do as many rows as you want, whatever you want. You can do 2, 5, 8, whatever you like. And that's the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. See y'all, everyone.